What's up, everybody? We back with another episode of Mossmode and Friends. Back with episode 9. I'm Zach, your host. JD, say what's up to the
Badger,
people.
what's good, people, man? I'm Badger JD, of course.
Been away for a little minute. Been away for a little minute. Had to get back. A lot of stuff done happened. Essentially, since we've been gone. Um, I mean, a lot just in the NBA by itself, right? Not even talking about a lot of the NFL stuff. Just the NBA stuff right now. Um, I mean, the first thing we got to talk about, we got to recap essentially a little bit of that. What got going on with Kyrie and KD still,
Yeah,
and the movement that's been making. Um, Obviously, Kyrie essentially still trying to force his way out of LA. I mean, out of Brooklyn to LA. And then you got Durant essentially now, who's went dark, who loves to be on social media, but now has went dark after
yeah,
requesting the trade out of Brooklyn. And then we hear his teams are Miami and Phoenix, right? Two teams who were one just in the NBA Finals a year or 2 year now is gone removed, and then the team that was literally one shot away from being back in the finals, literally one shot away. Uh, I mean if Kevin Durant didn't touching on KD first, if I think if he didn't do that move to Golden State first, right? I don't think people would be looking at him trying to now force his way out of Brooklyn when he signed a 4 year extension, right? I don't think people would be so hard on him now, especially from the teams that he picked, right? You're talking about teams that have multiple All Stars, teams who've had success. I mean, Phoenix is just the number one team in the West.
Miami was the number one team in the East.
Exactly. So it's like I think people really care and they're like, man, he doing this again. Essentially, not to the obviously to the caliber of what he did when he went to the Warriors, but people are like, he doing this again. Like people want to see. I know me personally, I want to see Kevin Durant win essentially by himself, right? Obviously, he can't win by himself as the lone All Star, but I think people want to see him go to a team that in the middle of the pack, right? Uh, and then take that team over the top, right? When I think of some teams off the top of my head, I think maybe like Atlanta, right? Some team that's in the middle of the pack, right? That's not expected to do certain things. Take them out of there. Uh, I've seen a lot of stuff about New Orleans, right? New Orleans has a hell of a team, and it's young, right? Take that team, take them to the finals, and do things like that. So I think that's what I know I want to see, and I know that's what a lot of people want to see is Kevin Durant finally do something essentially as him by himself without another, you know, essentially another Hall of Fame caliber guy to that level, which who's already established anyways. What's your thoughts on it?
Um, I think the first thing that come to my mind was LeBron. Like how you said, like you want to see somebody going to the middle of the pack. I remember when LeBron left Cleveland the first time I initially went to Miami. I believe that year we went like 37-45. I
They're
don't even know
terrible.
if we made the playoffs. So LeBron ended up coming to us, and people I think was talking about that move a lot because of the two people that came in. But when you think about it, we was one of the teams that we wasn't a star heavy team. I mean, we had Dwayne Wade, and that was about it. And then we added two players, and then that happened, and we all know the rest from that. We went to four straight finals and won two. But as with KD, it's kind of a tricky situation because as much as you want to visualize what team he'll be on, um, imagine like you just said New Orleans. Imagine how much New Orleans would have to give up to even get a Kevin Durant. Like, of course, Zion Williamson would be untouchable in a sense, but I think if you're trading for KD, do
Mm-mm.
you have to give up Brandon Ingram? Do you have to give up like who do you have to give up? So even with the Heat, even if he was to come to the Heat, people saying we might have to get rid of Bam Adebayo and just different things. So it's just a tricky situation because we never seen a player of his caliber like request a trade, so we don't know what his package is. I don't think it's enough. You can trade the KD to get equal compensation. It's not enough draft picks you can trade that's enough for KD. So it's just a tricky situation because as bad as you want that talent, you don't want to gut your whole roster in a way. So it's gonna be a weird thing. I think I've been watching the NBA channel like every day, and every day they have an update on Kevin Durant, and the update is just them saying the same thing. Teams are talking, and teams that want to do this, and teams that want to do this. But I'm just honestly not too sure because it's just tricky. I think the Kyrie Irving, how we spoke about first, is a little easier to gauge a little bit because it's really only one place we see him going. Because I think a lot of teams are scared to touch Kyrie just because you don't know what type of thing he's gonna be on. He might wake up on this side of the bed, but I think in a way, I think him joining forces again with LeBron, I think that'll have him like him leaving LeBron and seeing what he had to go through and what he's been through since he's left LeBron. I think that's gonna make him appreciate being with Bron so much more. Like he's gonna ignore all the BS and all the stuff he got going on the side. Even though I don't look at it as bad, like he's a person like he likes things that he likes. Like he's not a person that's end all be all basketball.
Yeah.
And some people see that as a bad thing. I see it as a good thing because like I said, like we're not like our profession is not who we are. Like you play in the NFL, but the NFL is not your end all be all. You still a human being outside of the lines at the end of the day. And he's just a person that happens to express it a little more, and it may be in a little more extreme ways. Where some days, if he might wake up and something happens, he like I don't want to play tonight, and he really will not play tonight. But to that extent, I think him joining forces with LeBron again will have him, I think, calm down to a point where he's like he knows what he's with now. So he's not going to be on all the off the court shenanigans trying to be a distraction. I think that's when he's going to hone in to be a team. But I really see the Lakers being the only fit for Kyrie right now. And I think the Lakers will be the only team that's willing to take Kyrie, especially after everything he did this past season. But just back to KD, man, it's just tricky because it was kind of the the trade request is kind of unexpected in a way. And I know personally, I just had a thought. I was like, if you were going to request a trade so quickly, why did you sign the extension?
I mean, and I guess he signed essentially believing that
Kyrie would be back.
Kyrie would be back, right?
And probably James. Was James around when he still signed the extension?
I believe so, but it makes
Yeah.
sense why he signed it. Obviously, we know when he left the Warriors is because he didn't feel like he got the credit that he deserved,
Yeah.
right? And leaving there, going to a situation like Brooklyn, which the front office is giving him, the LeBron treatment, right? Because when he was in OKC, he didn't have that type of leverage
Yeah.
upstairs to go and say this, that, and the other, right? And he was a younger player. He didn't. That wasn't really where his mindset was at. He goes to Golden State. He sees how that runs through, and then he comes to Brooklyn. Brooklyn tells him, "Hey, X, Y, and Z." They give him the money coming off. Now we talking about coming off an Achilles injury, an injury, right, that usually sits players down for the rest of their careers, right?
Yeah.
They still signed him coming off that injury because people forget that he missed that whole entire year. He didn't play his
Oh,
first
yeah.
year in
So
Brooklyn.
the first year he
So
signed that super big contract. Yeah. You're
yeah,
right.
so they paid him. That shows respect, loyalty, all type of things. So essentially, when you factor in all those things, him signing for another 4 years, them probably telling him, yeah, okay, this is a mutual partnership where we want you to be able to voice what you want because essentially this is your team that you're going to be playing with, and we want you to
Yeah.
win, and we want to win. So, got it. Makes sense why he signed it. Now, did he see Kyrie Irving essentially being this version of Kyrie with the world, with the things that's going on in the world, with COVID and him having to sit out, which essentially drove James Harden away from that situation as
Yeah.
well, that people forget because it was all Kyrie's decision making that really rooted that team up and out, right? And then you have a guy like Steve Nash who's never been a very vocal player, right? So you could imagine him being in the coaching position, trying to handle
Yeah.
all that type of stuff with all the media going on and everything like that. So it makes sense to me why he signed the 4 year extension. The only thing I think is that when you think about his age, he's 34 years old, right? How much more ball does Kevin Durant have in his tank? Now, we know obviously that guys can play to the age of 40, right? With the type of treatment and rehab and all these things that has, sports science and all these things is, progress and everything like that. So we know essentially he can play to
Yeah.
40 because his play style essentially tells us he can play to 40. He's never been a crazy above the rim athletic guy. He's, he can shoot, dribble, all those type of things. So he can play to 40. Do you really want to uproot? Does a team really want to, one, like you said, break the bank? I think. Do you really want to break the bank for Kevin Durant? right? Because now you're taking on a 4-year contract, 3-year contract, essentially. Do you really want to uproot a young team, a team that you, guys that you have, like the Pelicans? They made the playoffs last season. I mean, to me, if I'm the GM, I like New Orleans for him. I think the city of New Orleans would really, essentially, really love Kevin Durant there. They haven't
Yeah.
had a player that type of caliber is like really since Chris Paul,
And
right?
Chris Paul not even on KD
And
type
he's not even
scale.
on Kevin Durant's level. So I think New Orleans would really love him, right? We know how New Orleans fans base is. Um, Come there, but I think you have to give up Zion. I don't think Brooklyn is going to look at you and tell you, okay, yeah, give us Brandon Ingram and this guy and that guy. I think you have to give up Zion. And I love Zion, but I believe that I would give Zion up for Kevin Durant if I'm New Orleans, just off of the fact that the guy hasn't played a lot of games
Yeah.
off of injuries. Like he's a hell of a talent. And don't get me wrong, like when he's on the court, he's averaging over 24 points a game. Like
Yeah.
when Zion's on the court, when there's no one stopping him at the rim. Like it's not fair, right? So, and he's a young player, and he's still developing his game, and he's being able to do all these things with Zion. But I think I would give up Zion for Kevin Durant just because of the simple fact that his past, his injuries, his body type, his commitment to his diet, his weight, he hasn't really shown us this, right? And that's essentially the reason that New Orleans didn't give him a max deal. Now they gave him some real good money, around like
Yeah.
100 and maybe $93 million, something like that.
Yeah.
They didn't give him the max, but they allowed him to be able to get it if he hit certain numbers, right?
Yeah.
And that's off of the simple fact as if, okay, you can get this money if you healthy.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is I like Kevin Durant, Brandon Ingram, and that core group of guys in New Orleans, and they have a hell of a coach in New Orleans. That's a team where if something was to happen, I would love to see Kevin Durant say, "Yeah, give me this challenge, right? Let me take this scrappy team, lead them." Which I don't believe Kevin Durant is essentially a leader in the sense of the word, as we've seen great players lead. I don't think that's him,
Yeah.
right? When you talk about the Kobe Bryant or LeBron James, or Wade, or all the guys down the list, he's not a leader in that sense. He's a leader in his own way. I just don't think he can lead a group of men as the sole vocal leader for one, right? Obviously the best player, but I don't think he can do that. And I think that's the reason that he continuously wants to join teams that already have big vocal leaders essentially in place,
Yeah.
right? Chris Paul, Devin Booker. That's essentially their team. He's coming in to join the fold right now because he's the damn best player out of them all. He's going to get all the praise about it,
Yeah.
right? He doesn't want to take on that type of leadership and those things, which I think when you see a guy like Kevin Durant, you got to give more guys their flowers, essentially, like a LeBron or a Kobe, or down the line Tim Duncan, guys who've been the number one centerfold of the team and who's taken on the leadership role and led those guys to their victories. Like you got to give those guys their flowers because that's not so easy as they make it look, essentially.
Definitely. And I think the weird thing about this KD trade is I think he probably requested to get traded to um Miami or Phoenix because they probably have the most realistic chance of landing him in a way. Because if you think about it, most of these teams that's on the cusp or that's like you said, like the Atlanta Hawks team. If you're the Atlanta Hawks, who are you giving up to even get
Yeah,
Kevin
yeah.
Durant?
You don't
If
got much.
you like all these other teams, you don't really have much. And then also, I know if I'm a GM, I'm only trading for Kevin Durant if I know if Kevin Durant is on my team and I don't care who I got to give up, he makes us like title favorites right now. Like that's who I'm going to. Like if I'm like, let's say if I'm um I can't even say, like, let's say just for instance, like a Minnesota Timberwolves team. Do I want to trade KD? Like, is trading for KD gonna make my organization that much better? Are we gonna win the finals?
I mean,
So I think in reality,
If I'm Minnesota, I'm sitting at the table trying to package whatever I can
oh
because
yeah, I
you've
ain't gonna lie,
never
but
had a guy like Kevin Durant outside of Kevin Garnett, which you
yeah,
drafted. Because
yeah,
it's not a destination where guys are like, oh yeah, sign me up, let's go to Minnesota. That's
yeah,
not it. So
nah,
your run
definitely,
shot, to get somebody essentially is right now. Like he's
Yeah,
talking about a trade. Kevin Durant does not have like he can say, yeah, send me here or here, but he don't have no power in this situation.
yeah.
The Nets hold all the leverage. The Nets can
I
send him
think
wherever they get the best deal.
I think it's just a little different because this is the thing I feel like when you get into managing great players, you don't want to seem like that organization that once you have a great player, you kind of f them and send them to like let's say a Charlotte or let's
Man, look
say
at here.
something like this. Like
They
it is,
effing
but then
you.
you gotta look at it in the sense like if we do Kevin Durant dirty, what other superstars going to want to come play for our organization, not knowing if we might do them for this?
Kevin Durant is doing you dirty in the fact of yes, you signed the extension, and then when the guy that you told us to bring in doesn't hold up his end of the bar,
Yeah,
right? Then you want to run out of here when we've broken up our team, right? Because they didn't have any young players. They traded a lot of draft picks to go get guys, right? And
yeah,
to go bring this team together that Kevin Durant wanted, right? People always like to say, "Oh, LeBron went here." But LeBron plays out all his deals. He don't sit there and sign 3, 4, 5 year extensions. He plays out all his deals and then leaves in free agency. So whatever the team has, they have. They keep their
yeah,
picks, whatever it is, right? Kevin Durant essentially is effing the Nets. So why can't the Nets essentially get back, be compensated for what they've lost with the decision to bring Kevin Durant in, and now him saying, "Well, I'm reneging and saying, okay, well, I don't really want to be here no more because X, Y, and Z. I don't think this is gonna work out no more. I want to go to somewhere where I know I can go win essentially right now."
yeah. The
If
only
I'm a,
thing
if
I
I'm an
think,
organization, I'm saying we've shown this guy the most respect that they possibly can show. I think I don't know, obviously behind the doors, but from what it looks
yeah,
like to our eyes, it looks like Brooklyn's done whatever Kevin Durant has asked them to do, right, and taking everything on the chin, right. If I'm them, look, whoever is telling me, hey, I can get you this many first round picks with this player, with another player, this I'm sending Kevin Durant right now, right now, right. But I don't think Brooklyn really cares right now to move Kevin Durant because why? They have him under contract for 4 years. He's on
yeah,
their roster. They don't have to move nothing. Now, Kyrie is a different conversation because you got to get Kyrie up out of there essentially, just
because
for
it's
the
either you trade them or you lose them.
exactly. So he's like, we got to get Kyrie out of here essentially. Right now, he's opted back in coming back already
Just to
to
get his
Brooklyn
money.
just to get the money. But who to say? Now, personally, I think that both of them are going to be on the team into the season. Now, up into the All Star break, and when the trade and everything happens like that, where are they going to be then? I don't know. I don't think Kyrie is going to be on the team. Essentially, I
Yeah,
could see Kevin Durant being there, and then next year maybe something happening then because now at least a year of the money has been eaten up by Brooklyn, and some more teams want to do something. And then people see how he's playing at the age of 34. Like you got to think, this guy's 34. He ain't getting no younger, right? He ain't no type of the leader, and he's shown you that, and he's told you that personally. It's
yeah,
not like he's sitting here lying to you or faking it. He's telling you, yeah, I'm not like he's. If you go on his Twitter, it's something about like the leadership. He talks about leadership, and is different from what we know and we see with all the old time greats and the way they've done it.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's gonna be funny to see kind of where he goes. I think, like I said, I still think both of them are gonna be on the team to open up the season, definitely. And I think they both gonna ball out because they both hell of ball players, right? So, but I think Kyrie will find his way to LA, and we'll get that nice LA trio going on over there with with
yeah,
with Bron and AD and Kyrie, and then you with the Clippers with John Wall, Kawhi, and PG. Now that's gonna be if that happens, it's gonna be perfect. Because I think, like I told you a few episodes ago, right before I say that, it don't matter where Kevin Durant goes. Let me go. Let me just say this on record. This ain't 2016 where it did matter. Well, he shaped the hell out of the
I
league,
don't
right?
know.
No, no, no,
I
no,
don't
no.
know. It really
Watch,
depends on
watch,
where he go.
watch what I say though. Now it depends. It watch this. It depends on what I say though. Watch this. It ain't 2016, right? Where it really fucking mattered. Now, if he go back to Golden State, then it matters. If he goes to Milwaukee, then it matters, right? But come on now, he ain't getting traded to neither one of them teams. Like that's dead
Oh yeah.
for one. There ain't anybody doing that. I say it don't matter where he's going, just off the simple fact that Giannis is the best player in the league. Like, is that simple? Giannis is going to be in the NBA Finals this season, and he's going to win this season. So it really does not matter
I got
this
a question
season.
though. Let's say, KD gets traded to Miami, and you got the trio of Bam,
You can't keep it.
Jimmy, and KD. No, actually, as long as Ben Simmons is on the Nets, the Nets can't get Bam because you can't have two rookies on the max contract extension. So they have to get rid of Ben Simmons. But then again, who wants Ben Simmons? God knows.
Nobody.
So if he can find a way to try to keep keep Bam. I know Jimmy not going nowhere, and then get KD. If we got to give up Tyler Hero, give up all that, I really don't care. Get up out of here.
I don't.
But
I see it. I can see it in the 3-team bill, but it's just hard to believe that you keep Bam with joining KD. Like that's just hard for me to see. Is it possible? Yeah, it's Pat Riley. Goddammit, it's possible.
yeah,
But it's hard to see. But even if y'all got him, I'm gonna be the only person like a nigga in the club on the back of the wall with my leg kicked up, posted, saying, banging on my chest, saying that it does not matter what Kevin Durant goes, Giannis is gonna win the championship this season. We
I
saw
don't
it.
know.
We
But
saw it.
I think going back to the KD, just closing in the KD with him requesting a trade. I just thought it was a little different, just because I feel like he probably requested a trade just because. Probably going through the contract extension, there's probably certain things they told him, like, oh yeah, in these next 4 years we expect XYZ, we expect this, and then it can be very possible that the Nets not holding up their end of the bargain, and to the public we wouldn't know whatever conversations they had, but it can be very possible that the Nets not holding up their end of the bargain. The Nets probably said we was gonna do this, we was gonna do that, we was gonna do this.
Yeah,
They
they
haven't
probably
done
sitting
it,
there
and he
telling them
probably
they gonna
said like,
rebuild.
if y'all didn't do this, then trade me. Or if y'all plan on rebuilding, or if Kyrie isn't gonna be here, and if y'all don't have Kyrie in y'all plans for the long run, regardless of what he did, there's somebody we need. We're not finna trade Kyrie and get who? It's only one Kyrie Irving. So
Man,
if y'all
Kyrie
plan on
making
trading
it so
Kyrie
hard.
Irving, we traded Kyrie Irving, we traded James Harden. So what are we doing here? Like y'all finna have me and who? Ben Simmons?
I mean, I think if it's obviously we don't know what Ben Simmons is gonna look like, but I hate to slander Ben Simmons in a sense because the last time obviously it's very easy to do it, obviously because of the last time we saw him, he just didn't want to shoot the
I know,
ball.
but Ben Simmons is still a very good
He's
player.
a
But it's just on
he's a
the
real
fact of
he's a
you
real
went
good player. Cause I
you went from
like
Kyrie and James to Ben Simmons.
I mean, but if you look at it, Ben Simmons, like I see what you mean, but that ain't James Harden from Houston.
Oh,
Like
facts.
Ben Simmons can go get you 18 and 10 a night. Like people better not forget, he can go get you 18 to 10, and I'm selling him short on the points because he's still a developing star. Right now,
And he a lockdown defender.
he played in Philly, which is a hell of a fan base, which is very hard. Because if you listen to Allen Iverson on podcasts and videos, he'll tell you that wasn't easy to go out there. You got to be a certain type of dog. Like
Yeah.
Embiid is a certain type of dog, right? Like Harden kind of seen it in the back end of the year as well. Like people wasn't
Tighten
messing
up,
with
boy.
Harden over there like
Tighten
that
up,
because
Nick.
it wasn't, like it didn't seem that bad because Meek Mill was still messing with him and stuff like that. He's still hanging with all the dudes and everything like that, essentially. But there you got to play your best every night. Like it ain't you can't pull a Ben Simmons, right? Which essentially
Yeah.
messed him up mentally, right? But Ben Simmons before that, with Embiid being injured and Ben Simmons was the number one guy, Ben Simmons was putting up numbers, right?
Yeah.
Like I wish I had the numbers in front of me to tell people like Ben Simmons was a guy who wasn't terrible. Like Ben Simmons is a hell of a player, and I think when he comes back, he gonna show it. Obviously, we got to see what his back is like after that surgery, but
Yeah.
he can still play, and he will be a great asset on a team with a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie Irving because out of both of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons is the way better defender,
Oh,
right?
facts.
It's a way better defender, and he can get to the rim.
He a
So
two-time first team all defender.
yeah, so he like you put that on the team at that size, he can cover damn near almost all five, definitely all across the first four. So
Yeah,
you
he's
you put a
6'10",
team together.
6'11".
That's a hell of a team with those three. Now it just has to be seen. Can you get them all on the court? Because we couldn't see Kyrie, KD, and Harden all on the court at one time,
Yeah,
right? We couldn't see that as much as we would have liked. That was the fastest big three to come and go as we ever seen.
yeah.
So we gonna see what goes on there. I think, like you said, I think Kyrie does get to LA. Uh, ultimately, I think he does get there. But like I said, I don't really care where a lot of dudes go. I got Giannis in Milwaukee with a healthy Chris Middleton. I would have loved to see them make a move um, this offseason and bring somebody else in that can, help out on the offensive side of the ball. That would have been lovely to see, because then that would just made me feel way more comfortable. Because right now I'm putting everything on the dude from Greek shoulders. Right now they got statues
Yeah.
with Greek mythology and people holding up stuff. So he ain't the first one. He gonna be fine. He can do it.
We gonna see, man. I think
But I
the
say it
competition in the East
because
a little crazy.
it is. But I said, like, my last person that I was gonna bang on the table for was Kobe Bryant. Right? I ain't putting Giannis in the same conversation as Kobe. Obviously, play styles is totally different. The game is totally different. Things like that. But I don't know if I have this much confidence in a player since Kobe, and that says a lot to me, because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to myself. I'm like, damn, I got a lot of confidence in Giannis to say I don't care where Kevin Durant go. I don't care if Kyrie and LeBron and AD on the same team. I don't care about the big three over there in Clipperland. Even though I picked the Clippers and the Bucks to be in the finals this upcoming season, and I still think Giannis is gonna get it done because he's that unstoppable,
Yeah.
right? So it's a lot for me to go ahead and bang on the table for Giannis like this, but I know it can be done because, I mean, shit. Look at the Phoenix series in the finals. Then you look at this past series in the semis versus Boston. Man, if he had one dude that can go get him 18 to 20 on a consistent night, come on, man. It ain't even fair what Giannis does to people, because LeBron can't guard him. I'm sorry. LeBron in year 20 can't guard him. I can't
Yeah.
even sit here and tell you,
You gotta put
if you
AD on
put
them.
AD can't guard that man.
I
AD gonna
think you
be in
gotta
foul
try.
trouble or he gonna be injured somewhere. AD can't guard that man.
I mean, what you know,
Uh-uh.
it's vice versa, man. I think only thing about LeBron's so smart nowadays to the point where he know people stronger than him, or I wouldn't even say strong. He know people faster than him at this age. But
Man, no, you can't guard him. Mm-mm.
man, I ain't saying guarding, but you know, Giannis got to guard LeBron too.
Yeah, that's nice.
They go
I
both
seen
ways.
look. Braun can't guard that man. I seen Giannis give that man the easiest, not that man, let me say the Lakers. I seen him give them the easiest 49-point game I've ever seen in my life. I
Yeah, but
say, man,
in the playoffs,
it's
game plans
hype. Yeah.
changes.
But damn, if he could walk into 49, if a regular season game, you cut that, he can go get 35 against the Lakers. They don't play no defense. And I don't care just because they got a new coach who's sitting here telling us, oh, this gonna do this. It don't matter to me. He gonna still do what he want to do, because you can't stop him in the post. And he's so well more developed now than he was, right, when teams like, I think back, let me see, what is it, 2019? What year did the Heat beat Giannis?
2019.
2019. He's developed his game so much more from coming out of the post and being able to pass out of the post. Not
Yeah.
pass out of the post, but make the right pass at the right time, right? He's been able to do that now over the last few seasons, which has made him such a way better player, which is why I would have loved to see Milwaukee go ahead and get another guy outside of Chris Middleton and essentially Drew Holiday, because I love Drew Holiday, but I don't love Drew Holiday on the offensive side of the ball,
Yeah,
because it's
defensively, he's awesome.
defensively I love him. Offensively, I'm like, because I don't want to see him really have to shoot the ball more than 10 times, because
Yeah.
then it's a lot. Like, if you would have got a guy that can come off the bench, but I mean, essentially, I mean, maybe they banking on someone like Pat Connaughton, who's really good, who's been steady for them, I think. What's the young dude name? I can't remember his name right now.
Hope you're not saying Grayson Allen.
Yes, maybe they banking on Grayson, because I'm tired of seeing him. But maybe they
I don't
banking
got
on
no
Grayson.
Grayson slander, man. He from Florida. He a Florida boy.
Hey, maybe they banking on him because he was out there airballing. Looked like the moments was too big,
Yeah,
right?
it's a little different. You feel me in the big moments.
Didn't he go to Duke?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Damn, he was in the big moments. Like
Yeah, he
it
was
don't get
damn near
no
suspended.
man, it don't get no bigger than Duke. When on the
Yeah,
college level, when it comes to the atmosphere, right? That's like going to Bama for football. It don't get no bigger than the atmosphere. You already playing in the big leagues essentially, so you
yeah.
can't be out here airballing. Now he ain't the first player to airball, but damn, I don't think he gonna turn into Kobe Bryant from airball.
Shit. Yeah, it's only one being.
but keeping it in LA, obviously we talking about Kyrie and him, kind of trying to force his way to LA. But essentially, the only reason that it's even a conversation is because LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron is obviously being reported on is the reason that LA is even thinking about trying to get Kyrie, right? And the owners, Genie Bus and all those, they ain't really trying to do it. They're trying to weigh out every
Yeah.
single option they possibly can, right? Because Phil Jackson is the one like advising Genie Bus, right?
Yeah,
That's
Phil
it's crazy.
Jackson as a GM.
As a GM, no, he ain't
I
the
want to
GM
take
because
no
he's
advice from
terrible
him
as
as no
shit.
GMs.
The GM, he's terrible as shit.
As a
But
coach, yeah. As a player manager, absolutely not.
yeah, they just got him as the advisor right now to advise Genie Bus on
But that's
essentially.
like her boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah, they weird, but that's what they got going on, right? Palinka, I don't think it's a good GM. I think he just happened to take over and was getting so much credit from.
Magic did a lot of the
Yeah,
groundwork.
that's what I'm saying. He got a lot of that just from Magic. Magic walked away, and
He
the
inherited
Lakers
a
wanted to
lot.
give it to him so much. It was really Magic. You think LeBron James said, "Yeah, I'm coming to LA for Rob Palinka"? Hell no, he said, "I'm coming to LA for Magic Johnson" because he
Yeah.
know Magic know how to win, and he gonna do whatever they got to do to win,
Yeah.
right? And LeBron talked about Magic leaving and all those type of things, essentially, whatever. But LeBron's influence has been obviously reported a lot. I think his influence everywhere he's went has been obviously there. I think the only place he really couldn't do it as much is Miami because it's Pat Riley. And Pat Riley don't care
Um.
who you is. Nah, I think when I say
Yeah. Yeah.
that,
Yeah. No. I agree. But at a thing, if you gonna relinquish your power, of like quote unquote as a GM, what better person to do it than Pat Riley?
yeah, exactly, very true. Like
If Pat
I
Riley
said,
knows shit, Pat Riley want to win just as bad as you do. Hey, Bron, give me a name. I'm gonna go get him.
well, I
Mike
think
Miller. Hey,
when I
you
say
need a
that,
shooter. Shane Battier, Mike Miller.
I say that when I say that, I mean I think it was more of D Wade and Braun
Oh
coming to the
yeah,
table, right? And versus just Braun because ain't nobody been on the level. LeBron's never played with anybody else on the same level as Dwayne Wade. Like, sorry,
yeah,
Dwayne Wade is the number 3 all time shooting guard in NBA history. Like, he ain't played. Anthony Davis is a hell of a
definitely
player, but Anthony Davis may not even crack your top 15 power forwards all time, right? Kyrie Irving, hell of a point guard. I don't know.
top
He
15
ain't
point guard for sure.
all right, but he ain't. I wasn't gonna go 15. I was gonna go like 10. I was gonna go like 10, but I ain't wanna. I ain't wanna
Don't
go
do
too
Uncle
far.
Drew, man.
But like, but he wouldn't crack your top 10. Essentially, I don't know. Maybe you gotta look and go down the list. Maybe he would, but top 5 definitely no.
Yeah,
Right? D Wade, hell of a player. So D Wade gonna get the respect to go upstairs. LeBron, essentially everywhere else he's been, has been able to go upstairs and by himself.
yeah, Bogart.
And yeah, right. And Kyrie said it on the I Am Athlete podcast. Like, the GM is a real thing. Like, that ain't no ain't no facade. Like, that's real. Like,
Yeah.
Brown really go ahead and yeah, this, that, and the other, get him out of here. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh,
Like,
facts.
they Isaiah Thomas. When Isaiah Thomas came over to Cleveland, he ain't want IT there. IT got what? Should have bought it there too. He ain't
Yeah, he
want IT
played
there.
with a halfway working hip, but
Yeah.
I think
Boston
on the
killed him on
topic.
that.
So the question on the topic is what specifically?
Specifically, what's his like? Is his influence good or bad? Right?
I
Because
think
when you think about Russ and now him trying to get Kyrie, right, and then him essentially being reported that he won't re-sign with LA
yeah,
if they don't get Kyrie. Because what if they get Kyrie and then he still says I'm gonna walk away?
I don't think
Because
he'll walk away though.
but I'm saying maybe he walks away off just off the strength of he wants to walk away and pursue anything because we never know what can happen in a year.
He don't want to leave LA.
But what if he's up for a contract, right? Kyrie will come there on a 1-year deal. you get
They'll take
Kyrie
care of Kyrie on the
and
back
both
end.
of them walk away. You think, damn, like what's going
But
on?
I'm
You
saying,
LA, you don't get a championship out of it. Like I said, Giannis
I
winning,
mean, well,
so you
shit,
ain't getting no championship.
Braun bought the championship to LA already, so he's solidified. But I think
Mm.
in the sense of trusting him as like a quote unquote the GM, shit, who expected Russ to play how he did? Because if we want to call a spade, when they traded for Russ, he averaged a triple double the year before that. So the Russ that they thought they was trading for and getting, they thought that was gonna be the Russell Westbrook that went to Washington and he was playing lights out, averaging. I the
But
stat
why
I
was he
seen was
playing lights
unreal.
out? But why was he playing lights out?
Oh no,
One,
for sure. But I think nobody even expected Russ to play to the level like Russ
no. I
played
mean,
terrible last year. Like
no
it was
one
horrible.
expected him to play at that level. When you talking about a Hall of Fame player, right? Who just leaving off the cusp of his prime, right? And especially when he's coming into a team with championship aspirations, and he's never been on the team since with that type of aspiration since really OKC. Because even when his little short stint in Houston, they wasn't really championship or break. They was like whatever. Um, but when you think about the GM, when you a GM, you gotta think about play styles, right? Like I said earlier, like maybe Braun believed that he was getting a Dwayne Wade style guy, right? A rim
A
finisher, not
dog.
the strongest shooter, a dog, like all these things, which Russ is still. Just because he had a bad year doesn't write him off. I hate when people try to make it seem when a player or whatever in any sport has a bad year that they just get wrote off, right? Like shit happens. You have a bad year in your life too. That don't mean your life over,
Yeah,
right? So
facts.
I don't. I now, damn. Now Russ made it real hard for people not to write him out. He made it real hard, and then
Yeah.
especially with the things that he was saying in the
Oh
media,
yeah, facts. Yeah, yeah. He seemed very nonchalant about him
very
playing
like,
bad.
oh, like, didn't you come here to win a championship? I didn't come here to win no championship. Like,
I
you
never
can't
said
say
that.
that, Russ. I didn't say
Basically,
that.
like I didn't say that. When did I say that? So you didn't come here to win
like,
a championship?
fam,
No,
you playing
I
with
never said
LeBron
that.
James. Every time
Yeah.
you step on his court, it got to be
And you playing for
championship
the
caliber.
purple and gold is
And you
as they
home.
say,
You home.
championship or bust.
And you home. He back in LA. Went to UCLA, right?
But
This is the crib. You got to
sometimes,
rep. You got to do what you think.
as an athlete, do you think playing in your hometown city can be a
I
distraction
mean, I
more
mean,
than
damn.
it can hurt more than it can help? Because I
It
mean,
did.
sometimes having all that access to everything you used to, it might not be a good thing.
Look, I can't. I mean, if it was me, I would say, like, if I was going, let's say I was somewhere in my career, I go play for the Dolphins, right?
Hypothetically,
Hypothetically, right? What I say, depending on what stage I'm at in my career. Like, if I'm in this stage of my career, going on year 3, still young, essentially, still learning the league, whatever. Would it affect me? I'll be naive to say it probably wouldn't, because it probably would. Because now all the people that all I gotta do is not pick up my phone for can just pull up on me, see me, whenever, however,
yeah,
X, Y, and Z. Right now, if I'm in year 8, 9, kids, 100% settled down, maybe not. Right now
yeah,
with Russ, and it always goes on personality. I always think, but it's shown that whenever guys go back, and a lot of this in every sport, when they go home, right, they usually try to go home when in the back end of their career, because they
yeah,
already know what time it is. Like all this done, it's done. Like you see guys always try to go back at the end. When you get caught up in the middle or the beginning, it never really works out, because you got so much things going on that you really don't really know how to handle,
how to
right? And
balance.
then and when you make it, or essentially when you make it, right, and all these things, everybody want to be around you, right? And you start acting out of your character, like maybe you ain't a dude who drink, maybe you ain't a dude who club, but then you home and you homie, all this X, Y, and Z. Everybody want
Yeah,
to do this, and then it will, you can try to make it seem like you so focused, but it can, you know, detour you somewhat, right? It's an exit strategy that will not allow you to be where you need to be when you talk about your profession. So I
yeah.
think when you go home, yeah, I mean, damn, look at Russ. Like Russ just had his worst year at home.
Since his rookie year,
Like it's his rookie year. Like when he was at OKC, maybe he was. Thing is, maybe he was going home. Right when he was in Washington, maybe he was going home and things like that. But he has a business. Maybe he was more business oriented when he was in LA because his businesses ran out of LA, right? His hometown.
Yeah.
So maybe he's more engaged into that and he's maybe not in the gym as much. We don't know, right? You think about a lot of guys, they just don't have success in their hometown, especially early on and things like that. So I mean, I would just say you probably shouldn't go home to your hometown, essentially. Um, and then again, it all depends essentially on personality, what type of person you are, and if you 100% feel like you can handle these things,
Yeah.
and you can't handle them your own, you gonna need some help. Um,
Facts.
but I would say only way I would go home is if I'm at the back end of my career, right? I'll take a 1 year deal for X amount of dollars to just go, run through the hometown stadium, family get to be there, homeboys, everybody get to, family get to be there and things
Yeah.
like that.
It's
I'll
the
take it
experience.
cool.
More so for
But
the experience.
yeah, because when you home and you got to pay for all these tickets and you young, you looking at this thing like, man, look at here, because tickets ain't free. We don't get tickets for free.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'd be like, man, look at here. If you want to come to Buffalo, cool. All right, that's easy. That's easier. But damn,
Yeah.
if you talk about, I got a big family. We talk about too many people. You can't buy tickets for $150 because tickets ain't
Yeah.
cheap. You can't buy a ticket for $150 that sit you all the way up in the nosebleeds or whatever, and and you got 30, 40 people. That's hard. That's some things that people don't think about. Like all those things play a big factor into it. So I mean, I wouldn't me personally, I wouldn't go home at this point in my life just because it would be too much things going on. You get
Yeah.
comfortable being back
Especially with the
in,
city we from as well too.
yeah, being especially when you're from Miami. You get comfortable, right? Then you get into that lifestyle and all type of things. You just never know. But yeah, that's that. I mean, staying in basketball real fast. I mean, got to talk about Dame and Bradley
Facts.
Beal. Goodness gracious, these two dudes killing me, man. These dudes two killing me.
They ain't killing me, boy. I ain't gonna lie.
Dame killing me. Dame killing me because
Sometimes,
it don't make no sense no more.
I know with this,
Like I
like, all right,
respect
so
it, but
look,
damn.
let's say this, all right, right. So you see how KD get all the criticism for always wanting the easy way out, for always like, oh, you don't gut it out, you don't gut it out. But then when we had these guys, even though if it may seem like it's the wrong decision, sometimes we have these guys where they just like, listen, I'm planting my flag. If I'm gonna win here, I'm gonna win here. If I'm not, I'm not. But damn it, I'm gonna go down on my shield trying. So I just think it's a little hypocritical of everybody just to try, like people slander Dame, like, oh, Dame doesn't care about winning, Dame doesn't care about this, but then as soon as KD requests a trade to try to go somewhere else, oh, KD's this, KD's that. So it's like, damn, y'all gonna make up y'all mind. Y'all want somebody to stay and gut it out, or y'all want somebody to leave. So like you get criticized whether you want to stay or whether you want to leave, but shit,
I
Dame,
mean, I want to see
I think
Dame at that level, man.
I
I
want to see
don't want
Dame
to
at that
see.
level,
I don't
but
want to see Dame keep playing to get into the damn play in or the number
first
8
round,
seed. I don't want to see him going up against the Warriors and getting banged about it. He giving them 45 a night. I don't want to see that.
yeah, but
Like that don't help his legacy.
it's tough. So I
I want to
mean,
see
I
Dame
think
on a contender. There's a lot of
facts like.
I want to go see Dame go crazy with somebody.
Yeah, I remember it was a clip. I think people was trying to say Dame was not appreciated or something. They was talking to LeBron about it, and LeBron was saying, "Y'all say what about Dame? Should y'all give me Dame, and I'll show y'all how much I appreciate Dame. Y'all got all this to say, give me Dame, and I'll show y'all just how much I appreciate him." But I think Dame is like really one of them type of players. Like he just really don't give a fuck. Like he one of them players. Like if I win with these people, I win. Like he probably made such a connection with the city. It's like, man, this is my second home. I'm from Oakland, but when I'm in Portland, probably don't got to walk around with no security.
I
Don't
feel like
got to
because
do
he an
this.
underdog
Family know
too.
this.
He's always
Oh
been an
yeah.
underdog.
And it's like he probably like I'm not even supposed to be here. So all these teams, and sometimes you had that chip on your shoulder where it's like all these teams that want to trade for me that want me now. Y'all didn't want me way back then. Now I'm this big superstar. Everybody want me now. Kind of like how, let's say if you a boy, you like real busters, and you grow up to be somebody. Now all the females that told you I don't want you when you was younger, you get older, they want you now. You like, man, I don't want to get out my face. I don't want you. So it can be that, but shit. One thing about Dame.
I mean, he got a bag for us.
If he don't got a basketball legacy, god damn it, he got a bank legacy. His legacy in the bank in the financial state is crazy. But Dame
Crazy.
and Bradley, I think Bradley Beal is a little different because Bradley Beal actually he's one of the players that kind of talks about how bad he wants to win, how bad I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to play for this, but
The man said that he
you're not doing that
believes
at
with his
Washington.
contract. This is what he said. He said, with my contract extension, I believe that we can win a championship here in Washington. I say, boy, look at here. I don't care who go to Washington.
Boy,
You not
Washington can
winning
have
no
KD.
champion. Now, if KD and Bradley Beal, now that's another one because KD from Washington, right? He from that
They
area.
not doing nothing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do nothing. But I'll probably if KD was there and then Bradley Beal like, yeah, I signed the contract. Then he said what he said. I'm like, okay, maybe 5 years. Damn, maybe something happens. I don't know, injuries, everything happen. But he said he believes that with his contract extension, the 5 years, however many dollars he got, it had to be over 200 because I know he got the supermax. He believes that the Washington Wizards can win a championship. Now, Bradley Beal is another player I feel like because I get what Dame's mindset is, right? And he's a dying breed. You know what I mean? He's a dying breed. And he came from Weber State. Like, he didn't go to no big school, right? He went to Weber
Yeah,
State. It was not a big school in no shape or form. He got drafted. Portland showed him love and to draft him. Like, they showed that much,
yeah,
honoring him, like to say, yeah, okay, we believe in this guy. We're gonna draft him. Even though he came from this small school, they could have went and got anybody else, right? And we're gonna draft him. And Dane's been a player since day one.
yeah.
So I get his mindset as a fan of the game. We know he's wasting it. As a fan,
Yeah.
we know he's wasting it. Like, I respect it, right? When he's done, he's gonna be like, well, da 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 da.
If this,
Okay, yeah, if this, that, and the other, like, okay. But as a fan, I hate to see him sit there in Portland because it's just hard to get anybody to come to Portland because
facts.
it's not a destination where guys are like, yeah, sign me up to go to Portland, Oregon. I'm
It's
sorry,
far from everything
like it's not a
everywhere.
place where you want to be, right? So it's like it's hard. Now I get his mindset, love his bank account for it. Do your thing. Bradley Bill, I felt like he was definitely gonna be up out of there,
Yeah,
but
me too.
it reminds me of now he's not on the same level of a Carmelo Anthony, but it's when because people forget Carmelo was supposed to be the one to come to the Heat.
Yeah, him waiting Braun, but he was chasing the bag.
He was chasing the bag, right? We talking about now if they had Melo, they gonna win full championships.
Yeah,
Like, people forget Carmelo Anthony let me say he was a guy. Like, when you talk about what he did in the Olympics, what he did in Denver, to some degree what he did in New York, because that was all terrible with the team and everything like that, and they just
yeah.
couldn't
Phil
really get over.
Jackson.
Yeah, but when you talk about Melo and the offensive firepower that he is, just a walking firepower he is on the offensive side of the ball, they would have won 4 championships instead of 2 if they had him instead of Bosch.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you lose some rim presence, but damn, you can go figure that out in free agency or
Y'all got to
draft
score
or
130 to beat us.
yeah. Look at you. We gonna fill that in later. We gonna think about that later. But he stayed and chased the bag, which ultimately changed his career drastically. Because now you don't even really people don't even sit there and think about a Carmelo Anthony. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's why
back
he's
in
trying to
like
chase a ring now.
yeah, like with 2012, really Carmelo's last really like okay, this is Carmelo Anthony was in my eyes maybe 2014, maybe you know what I mean. 2014 was like his
Yeah.
last like that's Carmelo Anthony that we kind of know. Right after that, it was all kind of downhill from there essentially. Um, so I say Melo because it kind of reminds me of Bradley Beal now staying in the team that you know ain't finna win.
Yeah.
And you telling yourself mentally, yeah, we gonna win, but you know you're not finna win. It's all about the money, essentially.
Yeah.
Now you can maybe his mindset is okay. Well, everybody's saying this, that, and the other. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and maybe it work out. Maybe you get that team to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is gonna be a hell of a feat for a team like that with the constructed
Yeah.
roster that they got. Kuzma and all those boys. That's a hell of a feat, right? Because when you look back at Trae Young resume, you could be like, well, Trae Young made it to the Eastern Conference Finals early in his career, right? So maybe that's what he's at, and you never know what can happen. But it kind of reminds me of they're not the same caliber player, obviously, but the situation is very similar because does Bradley Beal go somewhere else? We talking about Bradley Beal as on a championship team, right? And then you talking about that boasts his legacy. That's boasts him as a top player in his league. Because when you talk about top 5 shooting guards, sometimes you will forget about Bradley Beal, right? Just because you don't see him on TV. Anybody watching no Wizards game. You ain't even going to
29 points, but you never see it.
But you never know, and you ain't going to no Wizards game. Like if the Lakers playing the Wizards, and the ticket's like $50, and you better be on the floor to go watch that game. You ain't finna go sit there and watch that. Nah, you like hell. Nah, I'll wait. The Lakers go play the Miami, and the tickets, $300 to go sit by the hot dogs. I'll go over there and go watch that game. Like that make most sense. So it's like, man, I don't love the move, but dudes do what they gotta do. I understand it. You gotta take care of the financials too. But quick, I got a quick little fun game. Not a game, but
let me see.
A little brain teaser. I saw this other day. You talking about a 2-on-2, not two guys you gonna build the team around. It's 2-on-2.
Okay.
LeBron and Steph versus Jordan and Magic. Who you like 2-on-2? You can think about the best LeBron. You can think about the best Steph. You can think about the best Magic and the best MJ. It's tough.
Bron and Steph. I know a lot of people gonna say Magic and Jordan, but I gotta be the one that say Bron and Steph.
Bron and Steph?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. This is hard. This is real hard. That's why I say it's a real good little brain teaser. It's a good little midway segment. Just off of the fact that you talking about I think Magic can guard Steph. I'm leaning on the side of Jordan and MJ. Jordan and Magic.
I don't blame somebody for saying I'm just being an outcast because if it's make it take it, I'll take Bron and Steph.
If it's make it take it.
if it's the other way around, it don't matter who Steph got to guard. They giving him a bucket.
It's NBA Blacktop. I might go and play that later today. We'll go figure it out. Or let them, put the computer and let the computer play computer and see who win that.
It might be. I think Jordan and Magic is the right answer.
It's the right answer to me when I just lean on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Because I know damn well Steph ain't finna guard nobody on that court. He not finna guard Mike, and he definitely not finna guard Magic. Because Magic's gonna go in the post. MJ's gonna go in the post. Now the only other side to it is, well, you playing 2-on-2 and you try to help. Well, MJ wasn't the greatest 3-point shooter, and Magic damn sure couldn't hit no hook shot from the 3-point line, right? So and you vice versa, and you try to help Bron in the post, and you leave Steph hanging just a little bit, he gonna hit you. So, like you said, if it's make it take it, you may not take it. You may not get it back.
Might not touch that motherfucker.
You may exactly. So I'm like, I don't know, but 2-on-2. And then it also depends what rules you use. If you're using the 90s rules, then it's definitely going to be Magic and Jordan. But if you're using today's rules, I still got to go with Magic and Jordan just off of the sheer size.
Is it 6'9", 6'10" Magic stand with Steph running all across that court?
Exactly. So it's like, I don't know. Obviously, they all going to get their own because they just too good. But just a good little brain teaser. And we'll let the fans figure out who they like and things like that. But right now I gotta go with Magic and Jordan. Just off of that. But segue over to some football. Just gotta give a quick shout out to the Raiders. I don't know if you saw the Raiders hired the first.
Oh yeah, for
first
sure.
Black woman to serve as an NFL organization team president.
So she like the GM.
She's the team president, so she's over the GM.
Damn. So like,
Sandra
I don't
Douglas
know, like all the names. Like, so the president does what in the NFL? They
president
oversee
is
everything,
really
basically.
Yeah. So you got the owner. I think if I'm even thinking about it right, if I'm even right, it's the owner. Obviously, the owner, the team president, right, and then it would be the GM and then the coaching,
Yeah.
right? That I believe that's how the hierarchy goes. But just for her being just the first black woman, period, no matter essentially what level she was
Yeah.
on, like I
Coaching.
don't care if
Yeah.
she was the head coach, I don't care if she was the head referee, like
Yeah.
all those, like just her being in that position, um, is huge for football, just in the standpoint of how the game has evolved in incorporating women because now
Yeah.
I see it. We got, female GAs on our team. We got females, just doing
Female
so much
refs.
more. Yeah, you just got so much more females incorporated in the game because yes, it's a men's league because only men can play, right? But it doesn't mean you don't have female fans and
Yeah.
female people who want to participate and that know the sport because there's a lot of females that
Yeah.
know the
And I ain't gonna
sport.
lie, you're gonna be technical. Some females know the sport better than the males.
Exactly. Turn the TV. You will see a lot of females all over ESPN talk about basketball, all type of sports. So
Yeah.
you gotta think about it like that as well. And so I just wanted to give her a shout out and shout out to the
Facts.
Raiders for even not allowing it, but
Considering.
taking that step because that's
Yeah.
obviously where the game is gonna go. And obviously as time changes and things change, we're gonna start seeing a lot more of those things happening. So it's good to see the Raiders with
Yeah.
everything when you think about everything that's going on with the Raiders and,
Yeah.
and things like that. It's good to see them, taking that step and doing something that big. Um,
Definitely.
but now when we talk about football, we got to talk about the biggest thing that's going on, right? Baker Mayfield to the Panthers.
I don't know if that's the biggest thing, but yeah, it's
It's the
something.
biggest thing
It's something.
recently. It's the
Yeah.
biggest thing recently
It ain't
outside
been
of
a lot of. It ain't been a lot of news, so definitely.
outside of the dude who got arrested, for the Seahawks because he had a gun at the airport. But
I ain't even hear
outside of
about
that,
that.
yeah, I can't remember his name. I don't want to say the wrong name either. But I believe he played for
Wow.
Seattle. Yeah, but it's crazy because every Dwayne Brown, the offensive lineman,
Wow.
something happens every offseason. And I don't know why, but I don't know why. And I was watching, I don't know if you've seen the I Am Athlete not I Am Athlete, the Pivot podcast.
I like the pivot.
Yeah, they good, they good. But the Pivot podcast and with Inky Johnson,
I
right?
gotta watch that one.
You gotta watch that one. I mean, probably one of the best hours I spent listening to that one. But every off season, something happens with guys who, for some reason, like because when I bring up the podcast because Inky was talking about how he lost his arm essentially, right?
Hmm.
And on playing football, can never play the ball again. And he said the hardest thing for him wasn't that he lost his arm, right? The hardest thing for him was seeing guys take the game for granted, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't. This is a privilege. Like not a lot of people can play this game, right? And then the ones that can play this game, not everyone makes it. So it's a privilege every single day because you can stop playing this game tomorrow. Like I tell people that all the time. Just because you play ball, right? We blessed to play as long as we've been playing, but
Yeah.
any given day you could stop playing. Anything can happen. You always one hit away, one cut away, one anything away in football, right? And that could happen to you in high school, little league. You could have been stopped playing ball, right? No matter how good you thought or you was or whatever. But he talked about his injury, which is well documented. But he talked about his injury that he said the hardest thing for him was seeing people take it for granted, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I hate seeing people who come from the bottom, right? Because that's what happens. A lot of athletes, especially African Americans, they come from the bottom, starting from nothing, and they get to this level, and then just to go full circle, just to go right back to the bottom by making
Doing
certain
some dumb
decisions that they
shit.
don't need to make. That's just dumb. That you see other people not make, but then you get to a certain level that you want to make this decision. And I hate this because it happens every year, right? Like obviously, I don't know in recent memory, I can't remember, right, as many guys passing away um in the NFL as this past offseason. Like I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. For
it's like
sure.
every time you looked on Twitter, every time you look somewhere, or if someone told you, hey, X, Y, and Z passed away from this, that, and the other. And it's like, it's crazy because then people take life for granted. Like the one of the biggest underrated blessings is walking out your house and coming back home that day.
Facts.
You can go
Waking
outside.
up.
You waking up. You can go outside for 30 minutes and never come back inside. It don't matter how long you go outside. You can go outside for
Yeah.
5 minutes and it could be over. Done just like that.
Yeah.
You can be taking something to the trash and it could be over, right? So it's like people take things for granted when they get to these levels and just in life, period. And his decision having a weapon at the checkpoint at the terminal. I don't even know how he got all the way through. He
Oh, they
got
arrested him at the terminal.
the terminal. It was crazy because they detailed the whole thing. It was like Dwayne Brown arrested somewhere um, at Terminal 6. I was like, what the hell, Terminal 6? Like y'all got him at Terminal 6. Like
He
you didn't
probably
get
put in
him
his check bag, probably.
something. But I'm like, why are you carrying a gun through the airport when you know? I don't care. Like I don't care if like I'm not a person that care for guns, whatever. But if I was, I wouldn't even if it was registered. I'm not carrying it with me to the airport.
And this way you
Wherever,
can check it in.
if that's the case, just check it in your check bag.
Yeah.
If that's the
But you got to
case,
do like a certain thing, put it in a lock and check it in. But it's definitely a way you can like
but
travel with
But
your
where you
weapon.
going? Where you going? Where you need a gun? Like
Yeah.
essentially, if you in the NFL, you can go get you another gun because guns is cheap. The
Yeah.
first time I ain't never been to a gun store in my life. A couple months ago, I go into a gun store right with somebody, right, and I'm looking. I'm like, we here because we about to go, go shoot guns. Remember I showed you the video
Yeah.
out in at this place, and I'm shooting guns, doing stuff I ain't supposed to be doing. I'm like, Lord, why I'm here? But, but we go into the gun store because he had to go buy some more ammo. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at guns. I'm like, man, these guns cheap. Why guns $100, $150? I say, bro, anybody go get a gun. You can work at McDonald's and go get you a gun. You could have one. You could have some fire in your back pocket, packing up some fries at any moment. Anything you don't like. You know what I mean? It's just like that video
Definitely.
the other day of the lady that was at Dollar Tree or something like that in that
Yeah.
store.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They got into a fight. Why? How in the world can you get into a fight, right? And then go back to where you like the fight happened in the workplace. Like it never went outside. It was in the workplace. You can go out, you can go to your register and go grab your gun and then start shooting somebody in the store that you work at. Like it
Yeah.
shouldn't be that easy, right? Because it just didn't make no sense. I'm like, why you need a gun? Why you if you wanted to carry your guns that bad, right? And if you got it registered and all that stuff, you can go wherever you was flying to. You could have went and got a new gun. It's $100, $150.
Yeah.
That's dudes buy. You spend more on that on shoes. If that was the case, I'm
Yeah.
not putting myself in no predicament. If I was a person who loves guns or wanted to feel like I needed a gun for whatever reason to carry no gun on no plane, that don't even make no sense to me.
Yeah.
But get back off that topic. That wasn't even where I was trying to go with it, but it's just
Nah, but it's
crazy
all about
because
decision making. How quick you can lose everything you work so hard for.
yeah, it's like why would I don't work this hard, right? Then been able to do this X, Y, and Z, and then I'm gonna put myself in jeopardy. Now he ain't nobody saying that he gonna be out the league, obviously, because it's happened before and guys still play. Like it happens all the time, right? And whatever. But it's just the simple fact that this is my opinion, how I feel about it. It's just like I don't understand why, and it could be guns, it could be domestic violence, it could be whatever. It don't make no sense to me why I'm gonna put myself in a position to go backwards in life when I'm already started at zero. I ain't trying to like if I get to 10, I ain't trying to go back to 7.
Yeah.
I'm trying to continue to keep going this way. Like I'm not gonna put myself in no position. I'm not gonna allow nobody to put me in no position to go backwards in life. No matter what my profession is in life, I'm just not gonna allow that to happen because it just doesn't make any sense. Um, but back to the biggest news in the NFL, which is Baker Mayfield to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Right? He finally got traded. Right? Finally got traded after the whole thing went down with Deshaun Watson thing, and both sides just obviously going at it, whatever, whatever. But he finally got traded to the Panthers for a fifth round pick after being the number one overall
Overall,
pick in what 2018, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Um, we traded for a fifth round pick, and I seen somebody say on Twitter in a bag of chips. I don't know
Empty
what
bag of
type of
chips.
yeah, I don't know what type of bag of chips it was now because you can get traded for a fifth round pick and some Lay's, some salt and vinegar ones, and that's a pretty good deal. Or you can
Yeah.
get traded for I don't like the sour and cream ones, so you can get traded for some sour and cream Lay's. I don't like them, so it could be a bad deal. But I think it's finally is a good. I'm not gonna say it's a great situation for him. I think it's a good situation that he finally got out of Cleveland, obviously because that wasn't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could just imagine being Baker Mayfield, being in Cleveland after Deshaun Watson has already taken over the team, right? And you hearing everybody say everything about the media, like how awkward and how weird of a feeling that is just to even because I think he got dismissed from OTAs, so I don't think he had to be there for that.
Yeah. It was
But
he got a pass basically.
yeah, but just like that's just so weird. It's like an awkward feeling and everything like that. So I could imagine like his emotions and his mental and everything that he went through with that situation because you think about a guy, right? People love to joke about him and things like that, but when you look at it from a different side of the scope, he is a guy who can play the game, right? Like
Yeah.
he won a Heisman Trophy. He done a lot of things in college. When you think about where his origins of football, right? Walking, getting a degree. I mean, not a degree, but starting at Texas Tech,
Yeah.
right?
Transferring.
Beating out guys and over there, like he played on the same team, or he was there, or he left right before Patrick Mahomes came to Texas Tech, which people forget,
Yeah.
right? Then he said, you know what, whatever, forget this. He walked out of there, a walk on, right? A walk on to Oklahoma, and then the rest is history. He does what he does in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Then he takes the Browns after they hadn't won X amount of games and Lord knows when,
Yeah.
hadn't seen the playoffs and Lord knows when, and he restores them essentially. Now they didn't win a Super Bowl, but that's
For an
restoring
organization like
somebody.
that, making the playoffs is the Super Bowl.
That's restoring to somebody, right?
Yeah.
It's damn sure restoring to the fans. So he does all those things, and he smashed. Oh my goodness, he smashed the Steelers
Yeah.
at
He did.
Heinz Field.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's for you. He did all of that,
Yeah.
right? In a big rivalry game, right? And then the next season, what does he do? After coming off of losing in the playoffs, right? What does he do the next season? First game, they played great, right? Everybody remember the first game. Then what? Shut down the leg. Kansas City came back and beat them,
Yeah.
right? He threw a few interceptions at the back end of that game, whatever, right? Because they lost to Kansas City in the playoffs, right? The
Hmm.
previous year after they beat y'all up. So he took them very far that year. Then he comes back. He has a good first half versus KC, and then just an unforgettable half in the second half of the game. Second game of the year, he tears his labrum.
Yeah.
Now, for anybody who's torn their labrum, I believe you have, right?
Yeah. A couple times.
Yeah, it ain't like you know what, tore my labrum. I'm gonna keep playing the rest of these
Yeah. It's tough.
15 games in the season. Like
No, it's
it
tough.
ain't. Oh yeah, let's keep playing. It's not his throwing arm. Just banding it up. He'll be fine. Like no, like any injury is serious, and definitely your shoulder, right?
Yeah.
Especially the style that Baker plays, one, and then the way he throws the ball because he uses his whole body. So it's
Yeah.
not he just using one side of it and he doesn't have to turn. Like he does like a whip motion when he throws. Like he uses his whole body, hips, everything, torso, all that type of stuff. He tore his labrum in week 2 and played the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Why? To show the grit,
The
to show he's
toughness.
committed, the toughness. He's committed to the organization. You only do that to show the organization I'm committed. I appreciate you guys selecting me. I want to be here. I'm not quitting on the team. All these things that go into it, right?
Definitely.
And then what happens? He do all that for them, and then what happens?
Get up
Oh,
out of
Baker,
there.
Deshaun Watson just came available. Sorry. Even though we don't know if Deshaun gonna play or not, we don't know these things. We rather him over you. But thank you for tearing your labrum. Thank you for continuously playing.
For making your stock go down.
Oh, thank you for that. Love that. Appreciate that. That made it better for us, right? To get you up out of here, doing all those things for a team, and then boom.
Kick you to the curve.
Now you on the curve. Now you in a situation in Carolina, which I think is going to be way better for him because it's going to bring the best competition out of him for one.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold because Baker was the number one pick in the 2018 draft, and then Darnold was number 3.
Yeah.
Right, and I played against Darnold a few times. And he's a pretty good quarterback, especially just thinking back at his USC days. It's a pretty good quarterback. So it's going to be a great competition. But I want to see if because the coaching staff, I don't know how the coaching staff is there. I don't know if they're going to be around for the long haul. I don't know what their plans is for Baker because if any indication, it looks like they want Baker to be the number 1 just off the simple fact that they paid half of his salary, right? He lost a lot of money. He lost probably like $3.5 million, something like that, just to sign over there. And then they split salary with Cleveland just to get him there. So, I mean, and that is not saying much when I think about it because they lost a lot of picks for Sam Darnold to get it from the Jets.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't really know what they're trying to do because, like, okay, usually when a team eats up some money for a player, that means they really want you.
Yeah.
Right? Because you ain't just giving up some money for something you don't want, right?
Facts.
Then they did the same thing for some picks for Sam Darnold. So it's like damn, which one do you want? Because you just did the same thing for both.
And you just drafted Matt Corral.
And I forgot about him, and he's pretty good too. Yeah. But it's like, okay, what are you doing? So I don't know. Like it's gonna be interesting, and it's just so funny that the Panthers are the ones playing the Browns in week 1.
Yeah. It's crazy because I've been a big Baker fan, but when he went to the Cleveland Browns, obviously I had to start rooting against him. But just the type of player he is, man. I know Baker get a lot of slander just for being like the play type he is. He's like real arrogant in a way, but I feel like when you play like that, sometimes you got to be arrogant. You got to have that fire under you. Baker, one of them players, like he wears hard on his sleeve. As we saw at Oklahoma, where he was beefing with one of the teams and he holding his crotch saying, you know, F y'all. Sometimes, hey, I want to play like that on my team.
Flag.
Oh, he planting the flag in Ohio State, even in the NFL, talking trash, doing what he do. Yeah. But he's an easy player to love if he's on your team. But if he's not on your team, he's an easy player to hate.
Easy.
He one of those like Patrick Beverly type players. If he with you, you love him. If he not, I hate you. Yeah. But I'm actually rooting for Baker, man. We don't know how this gonna play out, but I know just for a fact of this kind of where it go to an athlete about everything being a business, like how you talked about how he put everything on the line for the organization, playing hurt and just doing his best, even though he was playing bad. People forget. I think he played with a messed up shoulder. He messed his wrist up. He messed his ribs up. He was out there like tore up. And so it's obvious why he was playing bad. But in a sense, it's easy to say, oh, Baker was playing like BS, Baker this. But I think as a lot of people fans, like I know because I played the game, but like a lot of people that they just watch the sport of football and they think just because you're on the field and you're healthy. Like sometimes you're on the field, man, you feel like crap. But it's like sometimes in a sense like Baker, like if I don't play, our backup got to play, and if our backup play, we got a 0% chance of winning. So I'll take a 60% Baker Mayfield over 100% backup. But then this is also an instant where it's kind of a wake-up call for athletes a little bit, where you playing hurt, and sometimes it hurts you on the back end because you playing hurt and you think you know your team is service, but you're doing yourself a disservice because you're going out there and you're not putting out a good product for yourself. You're not playing good. You're throwing interceptions. You're doing this. You're doing that. And then you end up getting traded for a 5th-round pick to go to Carolina Panthers. But it can still all work out for him. I'm rooting for him, especially now that he's not with the Browns no more. So now we got to beat up on Deshaun Watson now, the massage expert.
Look at you ain't finna even entice me to say no shit.
But I'm rooting for Baker. It's just it's weird because
Oh
he's in a
man.
super crowded quarterback room now. He got to learn the playbook. It's July. I'm pretty sure. I don't know how long y'all take to learn the playbook or how early y'all start installing. Maybe OTAs way back when, but he got some catching up to do. But being an NFL player, you gotta know what you expecting. And I know hearing one of his people on the podcast one time, he said he expected to get traded to Seattle Seahawks,
That's where he wanted
but
to
he ended
go.
up going to Carolina, which is also a good place because Carolina they have a good, they got a good receiving core. You still got Christian McCaffrey. Defense is the defense, but you're in a tough division. You got the Saints, the Bucks, and the Falcons. But we'll see, man. I mean, one thing about it, he was the number one pick for a reason. So just
Yeah.
because, like we said with Russell Westbrook, just because you have one
Can't write
bad
him off.
year, you can't write him off. So who knows? Maybe Baker Mayfield comes in this season, set the field on fire, and is like, maybe was it the Browns holding him back, or was he holding back the Browns? So
We'll see how the narrative changes, right?
yeah,
We'll see how the narrative changes.
because if Baker go out there game one and put a ass whooping on them Browns, people gonna be like, even in the Browns organizations, did we make a mistake? Or
Yeah,
did
they gonna
we,
be like, oh, he's back, and essentially he never left. He just did a move that if you ask a lot of dudes, they'd be like, I don't think that's a smart idea. So it's like it was like okay, but I don't know. I mean, it's gonna see we're gonna see how the narrative changes because I think
yeah,
Baker, like I said, um, I think Baker's definitely gonna be able to uh reinvent his stock, right?
yeah,
He's definitely gonna be able to do that over there. I think he's in the perfect situation, even doesn't look like it right now. But he's in the perfect situation, like you said. You point out they have a good defense.
yeah.
We're not going to shit on the defense. They have a good defense, right? They got some good pieces. Definitely got some good pieces um, on that side of the ball, and obviously offensively they do now. From I think the PFF just came out and they was ranking like the top offensive lines in the league and things like that. Now, shit, he went from Cleveland, who was like top in the league. Now he's over there. Uh, and they at the bottom somewhere, 31, 32. It's only
and
32
you
teams
in
in the
the
league.
and you in the division that got two of the best defenses out there.
Yeah. So it's like, now we're going to see how that factors in because
Yeah,
obviously we know like the only dude I seen play with no line that was just able to make some shit work was Joe Burrow. Now, he ain't going to be able to do that every game.
you
Yeah, he did
seen
it.
that caught up on Joe Burrow ass his first year though towards
Yeah.
ACL.
Caught up on him. So it's like, we're going to see whatever. But he got pieces around me. Obviously, he got McCaffrey, who I expect to be real healthy this
Yeah,
season. People trying to write him off after loving him. Remember, right? People only
yeah,
love you as so much as you can do for them. If
yeah.
you
They
ain't
love you as
doing
much
that
as you can
for
do
him,
something for him.
they gonna be like, oh, he ain't doing that. But as soon as you back out there, you know you're scoring touchdowns, you're making people miss, whatever. If you're making a shot, if you're not making a shot, they gonna talk.
And if you think about it, you want to be technical. I'm real big on fantasy football. The 3 or 4 games he played in, he went stupid still. So it's not the fact that he can't stay hurt, but when he's on the field, um, Christian McCaffrey is the top 3, top 4 back.
exactly. So
But just got to stay healthy, man. When you a running back like that, your usage is so crazy. Where, I mean, you bound to get hurt, man. He done took so many carries, like your body gonna wear down. But
I mean, he was
as
a
long
damn.
as he on
He
that
was
field, man,
everything.
he's effective. He's a running back, he's a receiver, he's a tight end, all in one.
I mean, but what does that do for Cam Newton? Because people forget Cam Newton was on that roster.
Yeah.
Cam Newton was on the roster, and I don't know if that means that his career is over. Because think about it, where did Cam start his career? Carolina,
Carolina.
right? He came back because why? Carolina was essentially the only team willing enough to say,
Yeah.
"Yeah, Cam, come back." And they wasn't in a great situation anyway. Sam
And they
Darnold was
kind of needed
hurt. They
him.
had PJ Walker playing, so they didn't
Yeah.
they didn't really, it wasn't in like they was
Familiar
in
face,
prime
sell some
position.
tickets.
Yeah, they wasn't in prime position anyways. So, but now you say you bring in Matt Corral. Essentially, he was going to take Cam Newton's spot anyways because that's why they
Yeah.
drafted him, right? Then you got Sam, and then you still have PJ Walker on this roster, I believe. And now you bring in Baker, so it's like it looks like the era of Cam Newton in Carolina is definitely coming to an end again.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. They saying like I guess they officially closed the door and bringing him back.
Yeah, it's just hard to see him coming back, and it's hard to see where he goes now because if you think about it, before when he left New England, he didn't have a lot of suitors then,
And
right? And
Carolina
then
had to
he
come get
went,
him on like a just we drafted you. It's a nice Cinderella story.
yeah, and I mean, in a way, I kind of put, and we're gonna close after this, but I kind of put Cam in the same umbrella, not the same now. Obviously, when I say this, not the same play style, effectiveness, and all those things, but I kind of put him on the same umbrella as a Baker, right? Because people love and they hated Cam.
Yeah,
The only difference is Cam had a lot of success early in his career
yeah. One
because he got to the Super
MVP.
Bowl what year 4 or 5, right? So that's the only
Yeah, when he was
difference. In the
youngster.
back end now he's getting all the hate, all the slander, right? And
Yeah,
they both essentially talked a lot because Cam talk a lot,
yeah.
right? They wear their heart on their sleeves, all these things. They got those similarities, and they dogs because Cam is a dog. Like people forget
Yeah.
early in his career, I think
No, for sure.
he got used to running the ball a little too much,
Took a
and he
toll on
never
his
really
body.
perfected the craft of passing the ball
Yeah.
the way he should have. Only because now if the league would have stayed the way it was when he came in 2010, 2011, he would have been fine.
Yeah.
But the league became so much more pass oriented, right? At that time, when you think about from like '08 to really like '07 and down, right? You had guys, Drew Brees throwing for 5,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
You had these dudes throwing for these amount of yards because the offenses were what expanding.
Yeah.
Cam came into the league where a time where if he was like a physical quarterback, it was just dying off, right? So when he couldn't do it that much, and the league was so much more pass oriented, as you see how it is today, 10 years later, 12 years later, whatever, you got to throw the ball to win.
Yeah.
There's no okay, we're gonna run the ball 35, 40 times, and no,
Unless
no,
you
no,
the
no, 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 no.
Baltimore Ravens.
Exactly, but no, 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 no. You better throw this ball. You
Yeah.
better throw this ball 35 to 40 times. Like, and that's just where the game is at today, right? It's
Yeah.
just like the NBA. It started in the paint. What has happened now? Everyone has to shoot a three ball to
3-0 in
win.
the paint.
Exactly. Like you got to shoot a three, and you got to have shooters. That's
Yeah.
why shooters got a big price tag on them. You got to have a shooter.
Yeah.
So the game is expanded. I think he just never really was able to catch on to that as quickly as possible,
Yeah.
especially when then he got the shoulder injury that didn't help him and it didn't help his throwing motion.
Facts.
So I think that's what kind of what caught him up, but he still was a hell of a player.
Yeah,
Um,
Cam's still a top dog, but like you said, I think having that success early, being such a um, so successful running the ball, he probably didn't focus on throwing the ball how he should.
mm-mm.
And I think like somebody like Cam should probably be in a corner like of Lamar Jackson, kind of how Vic is, just kind of giving him the game. Like, listen, this probably what I did with my career.
Yeah.
This where I went wrong. So just to give you a heads up, this is probably what you should work on, because I think LJ still very underrated, but LJ still, as we've seen this past season, once you run that ball enough, stuff like when you run the ball, your ankle gonna get caught up under somebody, or you just increase the risk of getting hurt. So sometimes you got to pick and choose where you wanna run or you wanna throw. But I think LJ is the next person that's kind of taking them Cam Newton shoes, like being the next mobile quarterback. But hopefully, he doesn't run through like the same hardships that Cam had to go through. Just kind of just keep getting injured and injured, and you become so injured that where you busy you rehabbing rather than working on your game.
Yeah. I think LJ is a better natural passer than Cam, anyways, just off the simple fact of body types, because Cam is so big. Like I don't know if people like I got a chance to see him in person,
Yeah,
right? On the
me too.
field and off the field, right? I seen him back in high school at IMG, when
IMG,
because he
yeah,
got his little IMG teams.
yeah,
Seen him there, big as shit. And I was like, that was Cam maybe right after the Super Bowl. That was like 2015,
yeah. That was like for dudes in
2014,
high
somewhere
school,
around
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
2014,
So you talking about Cam at the height of his career.
yeah,
Now that I'm thinking about it, like, yeah, that was right there. But he was big then. Like like a specimen big, like huge, like what? Yeah,
6'5", shit.
like damn, hold on, like the
250.
quarterback,
Yeah.
right? And then I seen him obviously when he played for the Patriots, and still very big in pass and all that type of stuff. So body type, I think, plays a part into his throwing motion and him and whatever. Um, but I think LJ will, make that step over into becoming, very dangerous with his legs, but
Yeah.
also becoming. You don't even have to be dangerous with his arm. He just has to be somewhat lethal in a sense, right? Where he can cut it on and cut it off. That's
Yeah.
all really it is. Because I think he's smart enough to understand that he don't got to take a lot of hits and all that type of stuff. And they got a lot of backs over there, anyways. Um, so he'll get there definitely, because that's the key to staying in the league for long is obviously health, availability. You got to be available, all right?
Facts.
It's like if your job, you can't be sick every damn day. You can't go to
Yeah.
work. They can fire you. Like
Yeah.
that's just how it is. They ain't no different in sports in real life. Um, but that's obviously the key is being healthy and being able to throw the ball. That's why you got a guy like Tom Brady who continue to sit here and play football and fake retire, right? And
Till he
still
50.
play. Yeah, like he probably most likely, bro, will play to the age of 50. Like, and if he does, I'm not surprised. If he doesn't, I'm not surprised. But I'm like, he's in my head, I'm like, yeah, he's gonna play to 50.
It's game or not, man. I think the Bucks gonna be in the Super Bowl this year. I
The
don't
who?
know.
The
The
Bucks? Tampa
Bucks.
Bay?
Yeah. I really thought they were supposed to be there last year, but they just waited too late to turn that clock on to try to come
They
back.
did way too late.
But I mean,
And
the Bucks
AB
still
and
super
AB quit on him.
dangerous. Oh yeah, if AB was there, they definitely would have been there. And I think them bringing in Russell Gage. Don't
And
be
Chris
surprised
Godwin
if,
got hurt too.
Yeah. Oh, they did. Oh, you're right. They did all that without Chris Godwin. So I think
Godwin
when they all healthy, Leonard Fournette, I think he gonna be the true, even though he was last year, the very true number one
Yeah,
back.
they let Ronald Jones go, so
Yeah.
it's definitely showing that they're gonna
But
let him do it.
I don't know. My Super Bowl prediction right now would be I think Bills, and the Bucks.
I definitely got the Bills.
Yeah, no
But
bias there. No bias.
no,
there.
no bias. But that's another episode of Mossmode and Friends. Appreciate you guys. As always, continue to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel
Yes, sir.
and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Mossmode Show 1. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. We out.